Hello Zwifters and welcome to another review video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Elite Suito-T. Let's dive into the video. Alright, so as I said earlier, I'm going to be reviewing the Elite Suito-T. This is a trainer that Elite was kind enough to send to me for the purpose of review. I know, it's pretty sweet, right? Alright, so today I'm going to be going over everything ranging from the specs to my thoughts, all the way to power accuracy and road feel and noise level. So I'm going to be covering all those topics in this video and more, so let's get into it. Starting off with an overview, this trainer was released a couple years ago and it comes in at a price of around $300 to $600 US. It kind of ranges and it depends where you purchase the device from. You can find it for as low as $330 off of Amazon, and there's other more reliable places that you can find it for around $600. So it's around that mid-range price, more that budget entry-level price. So this is the same price range that like the Zwift Hub, Wahoo Kicker Core is sometimes in, and other trainers like the Jet Black Volt, which is literally identical to the Zwift Hub. So I don't know why I'm mentioning it, but yeah. The trainer has a claimed accuracy of plus or minus 2.5%, so very solid trainer accuracy, but not quite up to par to those top-end trainers that you see, like the Wahoo Kicker Core or the Wahoo Kicker or the Elite Suito-T, which has a plus or minus 1% power accuracy, but it does have some really solid power accuracy. We're going to be talking more about that in the power accuracy section. It has a maximum simulated gradient of 15%, so it's not going to hit the steepest gradients on Zwift, but it is going to be enough to make you really struggle on those pedals. 15%, it's tough. And since most riders only ride at 50% trainer difficulty, they won't be able to tell the difference. So yeah, that's that for trainer difficulty. And now on to maximum power. Max power is 1,900 watts. Not that you'll ever be hitting that power unless you're a pro or an insane sprinter. And if you can't hit that power, I'd recommend joining some pro teams, because that's some solid power. Along with the usual specs, this can be paired via Bluetooth or ANT+, and it does have trainer control, so you can simulate gradients, and you can do all that fun stuff. So you can connect to Zwift, you can ride on Zwift, and that's pretty much the whole point of getting this trainer. So the setup of this trainer is very simple. I was able to get this set up pretty quick, but I had some cassette issues because I kind of suck at putting cassettes together once they've already fallen apart and I have to wash them because they're like nasty after riding 3,000 miles on them. But yeah, that's that. Setup was pretty simple and I was able to get the setup pretty quickly, so I reckon most of you will be able to get it set up pretty quickly too. And there are some tutorials online on how to set it up, so it is pretty straightforward. The instruction manual was not the best, but that's kind of the same with most instruction manuals unless you have a Zwift Hub, which has probably the best instruction manual I've ever seen in the indoor cycling industry. Alright, so a quick section on portability. This trainer is actually very portable, and I have it stored over there for some filming, but it is very portable as I said earlier, but whether it's heavy or not, I mean, I can't really tell. My arms are super weak, so everything's heavy to me. But yeah, it's a pretty average weight for a trainer. It's nothing too crazy, but it's also nothing really light. So I'm pretty sure the average person can lift this trainer up. But you know, I'm kind of below average on that standpoint. Alright, so I'm going to briefly touch on the difference between the Elite Suito and the Elite Suito-T because they are two not very different trainers. The Elite Suito-T just does not include a cassette, and it is a bit cheaper than the Elite Suito. So cassettes typically cost around 30 to 50 bucks, depending on where you get them and how high grade of a cassette you do get. So that really depends if you want to go through the whole process of buying cassette. And note, for those who do not have an 11-speed cassette on their bike, they don't want to be buying the Elite Suito because there's literally no point if the cassette that's included is an 11-speed and you don't have an 11-speed, you're going to have to buy it anyway, so it's really not worth it unless you have an 11-speed bike. Alright, so one of the big complaints about Elite trainers is microbursting and sticky watts. Sticky watts are something that people believe affect Elite trainers more than other trainers, And I haven't exactly found that to be true, but I'm not exactly a master at sticky wadding. I tried it a few times, but I couldn't manage it because I just couldn't really figure out how to get the technique down, because I do know that there's a specific cadence, I believe, and a specific amount of force that you should be putting on in order to actually get that sticky wad effect. I wouldn't notice it happening that often. Only when I was gliding slightly, it would kind of hover around that 20 watt area, which was quite annoying. And I'm going to be talking about that more in the power accuracy section, because that was annoying when trying to super tuck on Zwift, because it allowed you to not super tuck because you were stuck still pedaling if your rider's stuck at 20 watts. So noise level is another one of those things that I find to be really constant across the board for all trainers. And that's because most of the trainers now, they do have a very, very similar design. And most of them have very, very similar internals that really make their trainer accuracy, ride feel, and everything feel very, very similar. So in terms of the noise level of this trainer, it basically sounds the same as every other trainer. You can't really hear it. Most of the noise is coming from your cassette, so do know that lubing the cassette is going to make more of a difference than buying a higher end trainer, because most of the noise comes from the cassette and the chain and the derailleur and all the other parts on your bike, not so much the actual trainer itself, because most of those trainers are from 2016 that are causing those noise issues. So that isn't really a problem with modern day smart trainers like the Elite Suito-T. So moving on to power accuracy. I found the power accuracy of this trainer to be pretty incredible. I didn't really have any issues with it. Everything seemed to work as expected for a smart trainer. Nowadays, there aren't really any issues with power accuracy for most main streamlined trainers, because they're all sort of very similar, and it's more the little things that are setting them apart nowadays. So like compatibility with the Elite riser, or compatibility with the kicker climb, or direct connect. Those are kind of things that are setting trainers apart nowadays, not so much their power accuracy, because power accuracy is pretty spot on across the board with most trainers in 2023. Alright, so now moving on to my thoughts. In terms of my thoughts on this trainer, I've been using this trainer for around a month now, and I found it to be a really, really solid trainer, and it holds up pretty well. I haven't had any issues with it actually. Everything seems to be working pretty well, and I didn't really notice that big of a difference between my trainer and the Elite Suito, and my trainer that I normally use is the Elite Suito-T. So it's a trainer that costs around double or triple the price, depending on the day. It's more of those little things, as I said earlier. So like an increased gradient simulation, increased power accuracy, and virtual flywheel. Those are all things that set the top trainers aside from the more entry-level trainers. But for those who are just getting started with indoor training, or for those who are looking for an upgrade from a wheel-on trainer, this is a really great trainer to look at. But I'm going to be talking about in another video that is releasing in the coming few days, that I do have linked up here for those who are watching this video after the release. You can see that video, which compares this trainer, the Wahoo Kicker Core, and the Zwift Hub to see which one really is the best mid-range trainer. So out of 10, what would I give it? I'd say I'd give it probably an 8 or 9 out of 10 in terms of how the trainer works and how everything works. This is not taking into account the pricing of the trainer or comparing it to other trainers. If you take into account the pricing and comparing it to other trainers, I'd give it more of a 6 or a 7, just because in the recent few years there have been a lot more competitive trainers that have been released, and that's like the Zwift Hub, which comes in at 500 bucks, includes a cassette of your choice, and has a super easy setup, and has a higher simulated gradient, and there are new features being added like every couple of months, and this could see 10 hertz frequency, which would really improve things for those who are racing on the Zwift Hub. So honestly, the Zwift Hub is looking like a much better choice as I'm reviewing this trainer, just because of the price point and the increased features that you get on the Zwift Hub. Overall, this has been a really fun trainer to test, but is it really that great compared to the Zwift Hub? That's what I'm going to be talking about in my next video. I do have a link both in the description and up here right here if you want to click on that link in the corner. Thanks for watching, everyone. That just about wraps up this video. And note that if you did enjoy this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps support the channel. And with that, ride on.